What up? We are working on the paint here at the house. We got the cabinets all painted. We've got pretty much the whole house painted except for this brick. And I just thought, all right, I thought I'd give you guys some tips on cabinet painting. All right, so let me start off by saying I am not one of these professional painters that paints only $1 million houses or whatever, so don't come at me. So these are tips for, you know, the homeowner, DIYer that wants to paint their cabinets and get really good looking cabinets yourself. So again, we paint with acrylic, enamel. We don't really mess with the lacquers or the oil-based paints. Don't really like them, don't enjoy painting with them, don't enjoy the smells, cleaning out the gun, anything like that. So this, I use acrylic. On these, we are using the Kills water-based primer, and we are going to use the Bear Premium Plus enamel for the cabinets in a satin is what we're going with here. So this is all water-based. That's a little extra right there, water-based. You can do cabinets, and if you prep right and if you get the right type of water-based product, it can be just as good as the oil-based, or maybe not just as good, but right up there with them. Like I said, I don't really like painting with oil-based or lacquers or anything like that. I just, personal preference, I dislike it, and I've painted with a lot of these acrylics and water-based that are just as good and handle the bumps and scratches and stuff just as well, as long as they're prepped right. All right, so let's get into it. Number one, that was the first one. On any paint job, prep is key, but cabinets, it's really key. So make sure that you are caulking all your gaps, all your cracks, and you're filling all your trim nail holes with, you know, wood filler, stuff like that. Make sure that your cabinets are sanded nicely. And so all this, a lot of what's gonna make the cabinets come out great is not really the spraying at the end. That's the easy part. It's all the prep work. You're gonna make sure they're clean, make sure that all the gaps are filled, make sure that all the holes are filled with wood filler, or, you know, make sure that you have paper up on windows if you need it, paper on the ceiling, plastic. If you need to cover the floors, you gotta cover the whole kitchen, big area, because it will get everywhere even if you're rolling. So these tips are for if you're rolling and also if you're spraying. And so prep is king. Make sure you prep everything. Sand, primer, caulk, fill nail holes, cover with paper and plastic, all of that. Take your time. That's what's gonna take you the longest. We remove, or I remove, all the cabinet doors and all the drawers when I'm gonna paint. I take them all off. I spray them separately. So when I do take them off, the taking off is the easy part, but when you come back and you don't know where they go, you're lost. You got to figure out which cabinet door goes where. So what we do is we mark them. We go through and mark. I'll pick one spot. In this particular kitchen, I started right here, and then I worked my way that way, marking. Boom, 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 boom. But I would write it down, maybe make a little picture of which door goes where. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up there, the hutch over there. And then from there, from this one right here, I jump down 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, like that. So make sure that you mark them. And when you do mark them, if it's a cabinet door that's gonna be, let's say, this is a bottom, right? So if it's gonna be in the bottom, you don't wanna mark the top edge where you're gonna be able to see. You wanna mark the bottom, which is gonna be hidden. It's gonna be, you're gonna mark it, and then we put a little piece of tape over it, and that's where you're gonna have right here. All right, so you're gonna mark it. That way when you come back to put this door back on, it'll be all painted. Even this will be painted, You come back, you take off your little tape, and you'll just have those little gaps at the bottom that nobody will be able to see. All right, if it's a top, let's say this was gonna go on the top, well, then I would make the markings on the top edge where nobody's gonna see. Same thing. When you go back to put them, you take this off, nobody will be able to see it because it's at the top. So that really helps when you come back and you are ready to start putting doors back up. You know exactly, you lay them out, you know exactly which door goes where, and that way you don't have issues with doors not fitting properly or exactly like they were supposed to, or needing to be adjusted a lot because you're putting them exactly where you took them off from. Get you some of these hooks. All right. Put them on the same side where you marked your doors. And I'm just using a countersink to kind of start a pilot hole. When you take off doors, you're gonna take off screws. Get you a little Ziploc baggie, put your screws in there. And so I usually get one bag for just the screws that are holding the doors onto the boxes. And then I got a box here for the hinges. So all my hinges are gonna go in here, and I got a separate Ziploc baggie where all the screws that are holding the hinges onto the door are gonna go in this box as well. Put it in the box, close it, tape it up, set it aside so you don't lose anything. I've had guys in the past that, you know, lose a bunch of screws because they don't put them in bags, or they just set them on a counter and then someone bumps into them and they go flying everywhere. So this is just one of those tips to save yourself a headache. Dust control is very important when you're doing cabinets, guys. Make sure you are wiping down the cabinets before vacuuming. We take the vacuum, we vacuum inside every box, we sweep everywhere. We'll sweep all along these edges right here. We'll take the broom, we'll sweep the whole kitchen, and then we'll come in with the vacuum, sweep vacuum underneath everything, vacuum inside every box, and just all in all trying to get as much dust out of the way as you can. The more dust that you pick up, the less dust that you would have that is able to land on your cabinets while they're drying. So if you're using a sprayer, it's under pressure, it lifts dust. So if there's any dust under the cabinets or on a shelf next to them or something, you hit that with the sprayer, you're gonna get dust, and then that's gonna land on your finish, which if it's your paint finish, you don't want that. Even your primer one. Sand in between coats, guys. So here we have 2 coats of primer done. We cleaned our cabinets, we vacuumed them, wiped them down, they're all caulked, ready to go, and we sprayed the first coat. Of course, you come back, you feel the edges, you walk around, you can feel rough areas and stuff like that. So we did a full sand on all the cabinet boxes, inside, outside, faces, everything. All right, so we use sanding sponges. When it comes down to this, it's just a sand to get off all the rough. This is a 220 grit sanding sponge, 3M from Lowe's. I know Sherwin has some little tiny thin ones as well that you can use, but make sure you're sanding in between coats and then vacuuming. As soon as you're done sanding the cabinets, the boxes, you get your vacuum out again, and remove as much of that sanding powder dust as you can. All right, like I said, you're gonna be sanding a lot, you're gonna be sweeping a lot, you're gonna be wiping down a lot when you're doing cabinets if you want that really crisp look at the end. If possible, you'll get a much better finish. Honestly, on cabinets, spraying seems to be a lot easier. It's less of a headache. If you roll, you have to roll, then you have to go back and take the brush and go into every little corner, every little edge. With the sprayer, you just spray inside the box. like I said, so it's a little bit messier, a lot more prep to get paper and plastic on things that you don't want to get dirty. But in this case, it's one of the few cases where I prefer the sprayer versus having to do it by hand. I'm a big paint by hand roller, 14-inch, 18-inch, you know, a nice brush cut in. But cabinets is one of those areas where a sprayer is definitely worth it. Whether you have one or you go rent one, you can rent one for a day for like 50 bucks at Home Depot, and they're not really that hard to figure out how to work. We use a Graco 395. All right, so we use this Graco 395 PC Nova is what we're using. Titan's also good, but yeah, Home Depot has the rentals. You can rent it for a day. It's definitely worth it when you're doing cabinets. YouTube videos, you learn how to clean it, how to run the paint through it and everything. And if you have any issues, you can always go back to the store and get another one if you have any issues with their sprayer. Use the right tip. All right, this is a Graco FFLP. So this is a Rack 5 tip. Now this is a Rack X tip, and it stands for fine finish, low pressure. So when you're spraying cabinets, this is what you want to use, guys. And of course there's different sizes. So the numbers on there, you know, just the first number tells you the fan width. So if it's a 3, it'll be 6 inches. If it's a 2, it'll be 4 inches. So you just double that first number and you get the fan width. And then the second number is the orifice size. So that tells you how much paint is going through your tip. I use a 212 size. And because that gives me a 4-inch width on my spray pattern. I'm not sure if this is exactly what they recommend, but this is what I've been using forever, and it works fine. It gives me not a lot of overspray and good results. All right, and I'll show you guys right now what it looks like right now. But these are spraying at a low pressure, so it also makes it last longer, the tips. You know, you can only have so much paint go through them before the tips wear out. So this one lasts longer because you're spraying at a lower pressure. The higher the pressure that you spray, the faster you go through these tips, and these are like $40, $50 each, depending on where you get them. So, and then the last tip, if you are spraying and you are gonna spray your doors and everything, set up a spray area or a spray booth. So I'm gonna walk you over here and show you. So our boxes here are all, you know, everything's primered. All right, so this is my spray area. I've already primered this whole room. I've swept, vacuumed, so there's not a lot of loose dirt in this room. And right now we're at the, everything's primered in the house. And so I picked this area because it's clean, it's empty, and I brought this in. This is a old drying rack. This is an old drying rack that we found at another house that we bought. They sell drying racks for your drawers and for your doors, that you can slide your doors into the drying rack and you can dry them that way. What we do is we take hangers, we take the door, and we take some hooks. We hang them, we put the hooks on the doors, and then we hang them from these, and then we hang them. I can either use the rack to put my door here and spray it, or I can hold my door, have somebody hold my door, or hold it myself and spray it, turn it, spray the other side, and then come in here and just hang my doors to dry so that they don't move around too much. Or I can set up another area where I'll just go hang my doors to dry. If it's not windy and there's not stuff outside, sometimes you can hang them outside or in the garage or something. So this is gonna be my area for the drawers and the doors. I'm also gonna put hooks on the drawers to spray them and then hang them out to dry. So that is a tip if you're gonna be spraying, guys. Set up a little spray area. If you need to put plastic on the walls and floors to make a little spray area, then do that, but it's definitely worth it to spray those separately. All right, guys, so those are my tips when you're painting cabinets. I hope they help. If you are looking to paint your cabinets, you know, this is something that will help you be a little bit more organized, hopefully, and get through your cabinets. Like I said, I would rather paint walls and ceilings than cabinets, but when I do have to do them, these are little tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that help me get it done faster and make it look really good. And it's not as hard as you think. It's just a lot of prep work and, you know, putting your head down and grinding and getting it done. So thanks for checking out the video, guys. If you like, hit that like down below, that subscribe if you found these tips helpful at all. If you have any other tips for painting cabinets, if you're a painter, or if you know a better way of something, let me know in the comments down below. New tips, new tricks. I'm always open to learning new things. So thanks for checking out the channel, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more tips in the future, or if you want to see this house, how we started it, where it's going, make sure to hit that subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next week.